What if America's most trusted allies, countries it fought wars and signed treaties with, are quietly walking away? Not towards rivals like China or Russia, but toward its peaceful northern neighbor, Canada. While America debates tariffs and TikTok, silent billion-dollar deals are redrawing the global map, and Canada is suddenly at the center. Why is no one talking about it? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will reshape how you see global power. Today, we unpack 10 major global power shifts where countries that once leaned entirely on the US are moving their investments, innovations, and military ties toward Canada. This isn't gossip. It's strategy. And it's happening fast. Number 10. Germany. Why is Germany building hospitals in Alberta, not Arizona? In 2025, Siemens Healthineers, a titan of German healthcare tech, invested over 200 million Canadian dollars into Alberta's healthcare system. Not Texas. Not Arizona. Alberta. They're building ultra-modern cancer centers, funding medical research, and supplying advanced imaging equipment. Germany isn't just throwing money around, this is strategic. A bet on Canada's policy stability and healthcare innovation. Why choose Canada over the US? Because American healthcare is a political war zone. Germany wants long-term consistency, not chaos. At the same time, Germany's green tech and EV battery sectors are building partnerships across Ontario. Number 9. United Kingdom. Is the UK moving its science empire to Toronto? The UK has been America's wingman for generations, war partners, Five Eyes intelligence, deep trade ties. But that bond is fraying. In 2025, AstraZeneca, the British pharmaceutical giant, chose to pour £460 million into a major research hub in Toronto, creating over 700 high-skilled jobs. And that's just the start. Why not Boston or San Diego? Because British firms are tired of US political unpredictability. They're migrating to Canada, where research is protected, funding is stable, and the regulatory landscape doesn't change every 2 years. Oxford is expanding trials in Quebec. AI startups from London are setting up in Vancouver. Number 8. Japan. Why is Japan skipping the US for Canadian energy? Japan, the Pacific ally most loyal to the US since World War II, just cut a massive energy deal with Canada. In early 2025, Tokyo signed a long-term LNG agreement involving Canada's Institute for Clean Energy and First Nations alliances, cutting the US out entirely. Why? Japan needs stable, clean, and nearby energy. Canada offers all three. But this goes deeper than fuel. Japan is now investing in Canadian Arctic ports, AI research, rare earth supply chains, even satellite technology. It's building economic and diplomatic pipelines straight to Ottawa. If these quiet shifts are surprising you, hit that subscribe button and give us a like. This next one will blow the lid off everything you thought you knew about global alliances. Number 7. Finland. Why is a tiny Nordic power teaming up with Canada to dominate the Arctic? In 2024, Canada and Finland signed the ICE Pact, a deal to co-build next-gen Arctic warships. Not science fiction. Military-grade icebreakers that can operate year-round in frozen waters. Why is this a big deal? Because as the Arctic melts, new shipping lanes and oil fields are opening up. And whoever gets there first, wins. The US? Still using icebreakers built in the 1970s. Together, they're forming a polar power axis, one the US isn't even part of. Finland may be small, but in the Arctic chessboard, it's the queen. And Canada? The new king. Number 6. Italy. Why is Rome ditching US defense contractors for Ottawa? When Italy wants to build the future of war tech, you'd think they'd go to Washington. But in 2025, Italy went to Ottawa instead. Their Ministry of Defense offered Canada a direct partnership to co-build stealth submarines, next-gen fighter jets, and warship systems. Why avoid the US? Because American defense deals are buried in politics, delays, and legal fights. Canada? Simpler regulations, faster production, and growing domestic military capacity. Italy sees Canada not as a subcontractor, but as a peer ready to co-lead in European and Arctic security. If you're still watching, you're ahead of the curve. Because what comes next? Defense deals, missile systems, and a US ally choosing Canada over Texas. Stay locked in. Number 5. South Korea. Why is Seoul launching missile tech in Canada, not Texas? South Korea owes much of its survival to US military protection. So why, in 2025, is it now testing guided missiles and radar systems in Canada? Because Ottawa offers cleaner contracts, faster development timelines, and zero foreign interference. Together, South Korea and Canada are developing AI-guided drones, autonomous swarms, and missile defense systems. Meanwhile, Samsung, Hyundai, and LG are anchoring quantum computing and EV battery research in Toronto and Halifax. Why this massive pivot? Because South Korea doesn't trust US political stability anymore. In their eyes, Canada is the reliable ally for the next 50 years. They're not just investing in land. They're investing in a Plan B. Number 4. Netherlands. Why is the world's chipmaker backing Canada over Silicon Valley? ASML, the Dutch company that powers 90% of advanced chipmaking, shocked tech watchers in 2025. They expanded their deep tech lab, not in California, but in Canada. Why? Because the US took 2 years to pass the CHIPS Act. Canada offered tax credits, visas, permits, and joint university pipelines in 2 months. Now the Netherlands is also bringing its agricultural AI tech to Alberta and BC. This isn't a side project. It's a relocation of core national tech to a country it trusts more than the US. Number 3. France. Why is Paris powering its energy future through Canada? In 2025, France skipped the US and chose Hydro-Quebec for a multi-billion-dollar green hydrogen grid. Why? Because Canada offers climate consistency. The US doesn't every election rewrites the rules. On top of that, France is co-producing aerospace tech with Canada. Its universities are embedding in Montreal. French AI firms are moving their HQs to Toronto. France isn't breaking up with America. It's just hedging its future, and it sees Canada as the safer long-term partner. Still watching? Then you're one of the few paying attention to what most media won't cover. Hit subscribe now, because these final 2 countries didn't just shift alliances, they redefined them. Number 2. Australia. Australia is one of the US's Five Eyes security partners. So why is it now launching space defense projects with Canada? Because the US has become too unpredictable on climate, regulation, and foreign policy. Australia's mining giants are now pouring rare earth investments into Quebec, not Nevada. It also welcomed Canada into a climate pact the US was excluded from. Australia isn't being rebellious. It's being strategic. And right now, Canada is a safer bet. Number 1. India. India is the rising superpower and is making its biggest silent pivot yet. In 2025, India invested billions into British Columbia's LNG exports, semiconductor fabs, and military drone labs in Canada. Meanwhile, US-India relations hit turbulence over trade and surveillance scandals. India responded by rerouting its global roadmap, not with a speech, but with silent action. Canadian cities like Toronto, Vancouver, and Halifax are now hubs for Indian tech giants, faster growing than in Silicon Valley. India is hedging. And Canada is now at the top of its diplomatic call sheet. What you've just seen isn't theory. It's not speculation. It's happening right now. Why are America's closest allies quietly turning to Canada? What does it mean for the next global power shift? If you're asking those questions, you're not alone. Subscribe to Globe Chaos Insights to stay ahead of the headlines. Is Canada the world's new favorite partner? Drop your thoughts, like, and share before the next move hits.